So welcome back. This is I guess it's 4 years since I put this engine in here. And it's starting to have a little bit of problems. Biggest problem being that it doesn't want to start. So I'm gonna have to do a bunch of work on this thingy, and we'll see what's going on with it, why it doesn't want to go. So step one, at least what I'm checking first, is we're gonna look at compression, we're gonna look at spark. So what's this? So looking at the spark plug, I don't see any signs of fouling. The spark plug looks just about brand new, so I think we should be good to reuse that. So my next test, I'm going to look for a spark, and the way that I'm going to do that is just by plugging the spark back into the lead and then touching it against some metal against the frame, and then we just pull it over, and hopefully we should be able to see at least a little bit of a spark. On small engines, it's usually not very strong at slow speeds, but you can see that's a pretty decent spark. So we know that's good. Now that we know we have decent spark, next thing we want to check is compression. So down here in the spark plug hole, let's just pull it over and let's see if we can hear any compression coming out of it. Well, there's a little bit. Let me just put my thumb over here and we'll see. So turning it over, there's definitely some compression there. I'll see if I can catch it on camera for you guys. But you can see it's kind of shooting gas, which is not great. It shouldn't be putting that much gas in, especially with the throttle set as low as it is. So what that suggests to me is that we're doing a carb job today. So first thing to do, obviously, get access to the carburetor. Take the air filter cover off. Comes off, and that comes off. Keep that in a safe spot. Now we go get a screwdriver. So once you remove these two screws, top of the air horn pops off. So the next step is you take off these two small bolts here. And this will actually remove your entire carburetor and air horn assembly, I guess. So carburetor here, out on the bench. First thing we got to do is take the bowl off. Now usually in order to take the bowl off, you just do this 10mm bolt at the bottom. These things are always done up to like 1 trillion foot-pounds on brand new Harbor Freight engines for whatever reason. I don't know why, but they're a pain in the ass to get off. Once you manage to take that bolt out of the bottom, you'll be able to just pop this bowl off. When I pop this bowl off, you can see exactly why these engines fail. So this is why these engines fail. Now, what that is that's shellac from the oxidized ethanol and alcohol that's in the gas. Forms this shellac. So cleaning this off, this thing plugs up all the jets, makes everything fucking suck, basically. So the best way to clean this stuff is just to go to town with this carburetor and choke cleaner. Here's the needle of that carburetor that I was looking at. You can see all the schmoo that's made its way onto it, and it's made this like green kind of slime. Basically just kind of sticks and makes everything not work right. So we want to clean all that up and then make sure that that thing moves nice and freely. Now, in order to check the carburetor to make sure that it's not plugged without having to take all the jets out and everything, super easy thing to check. These are the 3 things to check before you start tearing it down further, right? So down this main tube is your main jet. If you blow through there and it's blocked, it needs to be unblocked. So use carb cleaner and clean it. This one here, if you blow through your fuel inlet and it comes out there and it's not blocked, you're good. So with those two, you know that you're getting fuel into the carburetor and you'll be able to get fuel out of the carburetor. Now there is one other one, and this is the one that people always forget about, is if you look right here, this little hole actually goes into the carburetor, and it's the vent for your fuel bowl. And the reason why that vent needs to exist is as fuel is coming in, it's going to want to push air out. And if it can't push air out, it increases the pressure in the chamber, which causes your float to sink, which causes more fuel to go in, which means that you're going to have fuel pouring directly out of that hole into your engine. And that is actually what was happening to this engine, because this hole was blocked. All right, so carburetor's back on, air filter's back on, air horn's back on, all that stuff's good. Flush the gas out of the carburetor. That's what this little puddle is. That's the rest of the stuff that's within the lines. Put some fresh gas in it. Let's kick it in the guts, see if it fires. Ignition on. Choke's on, gas is on, throttle's about medium. So now, as for problems that I've had, this engine had, the engine that came out of the snowblower originally had a pulley on the camshaft as well as a pulley on the crankshaft. This one only has a pulley on the crankshaft, and that means that the wheels will drive backwards. So essentially, the wheels always need to be in reverse, and there's only one speed, which could be fixed, but for me is not a huge deal. The way that I got around it was I just ran my belt off the cam, or off the crankshaft, and then I just put two pulleys. I went to Princess Auto and I got a pulley that fit behind it. The back pulley there is the one that drives the wheels. The front pulley is the one that drives the auger. Now, as you can see, the belt that drives the auger has gotten a little chewed up over the years. So that's going to need to be replaced. I'll be doing that shortly now that I know that the engine's good. But that's pretty much it. That's the only real wear that I've had on this thing. There's a few other little bolts that have worked themselves loose, but that's not anything to do with the engine. That's just more to do with the snowblower. So anyhow, that's the update on this guy. And if you have any questions, feel free to ask them, and I'll answer. Have a good one.